Yalla, check 1 2 1 2. Might as well go live as we wait for the run in here. Twitch, no Twitch infidels. YouTube.com/MROVW. Hamin Media Group, both channels, double live stream as we bring it to you here. To the effect of nothing, effect of fronting is one I don't allow. So let me tell you something. I am a bona fide. Not too modest and not a lot of pride. That's right, infidels. We're going to drop it here today for the pride of Hamin Media Group, the pride of Lions, the young Lions out there. It's the Monday Locker Room. Hacker Hamin and Dr. Ted's on the way. Yalla. Yo. SSR Records, Mansfield, Ohio, asking where can I get your email address? I made you some new intro music that's hard as hell. Well, I like that. I like you putting your artistry to work, man. Thank you, especially for HMG brand. And you can get a hold of me at Hacker Hamin, HACKER HAMIN at, freemasonic.gmail.com, or you can always email Hamin Media Group if you need to. Group at gmail.com as well. So that's kind of a group thing that we got over there. Group. But if you need me directly, hackerhamin at gmail, get it done, man. Just please don't blow my shit up every day with like nonstop stuff. Because and if I don't get back to you right away, please, well, you can be offended if you want. I don't really give a fuck. But it's because I've got 95 different communications going on every day. But yeah, it's Martin Luther King Day, you guys. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I should say. Day of remembrance. So hopefully you guys are finding some peace, and hopefully nobody does anything stupid today to kind of get things too hyped up, man. Let's have a chill day where everyone can kind of take a breath and see what's going to happen come Wednesday. It should be an interesting and live Conspiracy Horseman on Inauguration Day. I'm kind of looking forward to it / not looking forward to it, because who knows what some dumb bastard can do to send everything into motion, or by design some my hop event. And I just would like to see that avoided instead of pushing us into the blender only to get chopped up further, you guys. But we're going to chop it up here today. It's the Monday Locker Room. It was a good weekend of having football on in the background. Every game was a banger, man, pretty much. With some type of drama in it yesterday. Watch Mahomes got fucking concussed there. The hit on Mahomes, I mean, he's probably taking hundreds, and it don't take much to get your bell rung. But man, when he got up, he was like a little Twitch queer deer on new legs over there. Like he could barely stand, and they were trying to kayfabe it by holding him up. But definitely concussion. I think Tony Khan ran down afterwards and gave him, the 1 minute concussion test, and he should be back for the Super Bowl. We'll see. I don't know, but the dude who stepped in his place, man, he zipped some nice balls into the hole on a crossing pattern. So, I mean, if you're back up to Mahomes, you might not get used that much, but if you're in the NFL, you got the goods to get it done. But that was a really, any given Sunday level script, as far as, they're down, then the fucking quarterback goes out and they can come back in the fourth. I felt bad for Cleveland. I really wanted the Browns to win yesterday too. That had the drama going into the fourth. They just couldn't do it. You can be cardio host for a few minutes if you want to, man. All right. Let's see here. Gotta send it though. So forward to Michael Manna. Where is he? Manischewitz. Yeah, man. But there was all good games going down. Packers game was good, and then I won my bet on the Bills. I got fucking murdered. Absolutely murdered. I came up 0 for whatever it was, 8 in UFC. Like everybody who should have finished got knocked out by the upset. And or when I was picking my bets, just dollar bets, like, I'm right. Carlos Condit at 13 submissions. He had him twice. He had Brown twice, dude, and couldn't finish him. I'm like, what is going on, man? And then, of course, I bet against the Chinese, and both Chinese went over. I don't know why I didn't bet on the Chinese. Always bet on the Chinese in UFC right now. Every fight is work. I even believe the dude that the Chinese guy knocked him out, Jing Lang. But, dude, Jing Lang. But, dude, I think that guy just gave him his chin to knock him down and took the payday, bro. He hit him with a square shot, but afterwards, the way the ref was on him right there. Email it. Okay. Invite Steve. VVE through Gmail. Everybody's a Mason. Speaking of, I spoke to one yesterday who I'm kind of excited to book down the road. I've been busting his chops. So we're doing all this brand development. And yesterday I got to talk to April Hunter and Damian Sandow, and we're going to be doing some stuff with them, Idle Stevens if you want. But he agreed to come on Conspiracy Horseman and talk about Freemasonry, as he is a 32nd degree Mason, I believe. So, really great conversation with him, Dr. Ted and April Hunter. Great conversation with a cardio kid himself.
Not really. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Yeah, that Mahomes thing must have been something that he had gotten hit so much during the season that the little twist on his neck was enough to put it over the top.
He got up, man. His legs were not underneath him at all, bro.
Better selling than we see during the week.
And then there was another stiff helmet shot in the end zone. I can't remember which game
it was Higgins jumping towards the end zone for the touchback, and Sorensen got a helmet-to-helmet hit.
Oh, it was the touchback. Yeah, that what a swerve that, dude, all these big twists you couldn't write. WWE should be taking notes on how to do things mid-match on Russo Swerves. There's a lot of them in there.
Oh, here's the thing, too. Why is a foul like that non-reviewable? How can that not be if it determines the momentum and the score of the game?
Yeah, I felt bad because I really wanted Cleveland and Buffalo to get to that next level, So those are two cities where their whole identity is built around these teams, and they just Buffalo made it obviously, but Browns came up just a little short, man. With incredible drama all weekend long.
The booking is either Rodgers versus Brady or Brady versus Mahomes, part 2.
Yeah, but are they going to let Mahomes come back? We think he'll be back in for that.
Well, then they're going to book the Nick Foles angle where John Henry wins the Super Bowl, and they have to decide who they're going to sit with.
Then we have a cage match between Mahomes and.
Here's a thought: Nick Foles, if he had went back to the Chiefs as Mahomes' backup, imagine if Nick Foles came in there and got to do it all over again.
Wow. This could be some of the greatest drama I've ever seen in an NFL playoff. Not just what's going on in the games, but possibilities for setups and underdogs and stuff. Who are you going to pick right now out of the 4 to take it off?
If NFL was booking it, Brady, the first quarterback to win a Super Bowl at the home stadium of the team in the Super Bowl. But I'll tell you who I hope wins. My new favorite NFL player, Aaron Rodgers, not because of his football skills, which are amazing, but the fact that he completely buried the government and their bullshit on the Pat McAfee show, and he took it within himself to donate $500,000 to help restaurants and small businesses out. And you could tell he hates the government with all his might. And I love him for that.
I agree 100% on that, man. I really want the Bills to win, but just because of my cousin Jeff's a fan and a lot of guys I know, but that Aaron Rodgers appearance on Barstool was phenomenal, man.
Yeah, so he's my new favorite football player, just for that, nothing else alone, and the fact that you talk about a talent that just transcendent, more so than Brady, and if he was on a team where the GM actually gave him the tools he needed, he would have more Super Bowls than the Patriots and the Steelers right now.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think the Bills are going to make it in choke or no?
What's that?
Who do the Bills have next?
Chiefs.
So if you think the Bills are going to choke right here, even though they got the backup quarterback?
Not sure. I will say this: isn't it a miracle that playoffs come around and all of a sudden fans are allowed back in the stadiums?
You had a great comment about that the other day. You're going to go ahead, take it.
January 6th happens. Trump impeached. Trump out. Playoffs start. all of a sudden fans are allowed back in the stadiums. Okay.
I watched some of my celebrity friends who are football fans, obviously, in Hollywood, be like, wait, there's fans in the stands? Like, they got worked and duped into towing the line, and now they have to eat shit, bro. And then they're like, well, I hope there's no COVID outbreak, like something a little smarmy to save it. But the reality is they're completely embarrassed by being worked into towing the Hollywood line, man.
Did you see the internet calling out that guy with the Packers with the sign saying even COVID can't stop the Packers?
No, I didn't see that.
They're coming down on him. How insensitive. It's comedy. My God, it's a meme. Give me a break.
What's the most powerful weapon in media, bro?
Comedy, parody.
Parody and satire. You got it. Hopespot234U says, I got a question for Stevie. Why don't more wrestlers try to lose a heap of weight after they retire? Help their health and joint pain. Stevie looks very fit.
I didn't hear the first part. Why don't wrestlers do what?
Why don't wrestlers try and get in better shape and lose weight once they leave wrestling?
My honest opinion, it's anything else in sports and entertainment where people live in the past, live off their nostalgia. They convert sales off the nostalgia, and they never break the wrestling bubble. And that's their mindset. I always wanted to transcend wrestling, even just to a little degree. If people started saying, that's the guy with the band program, that's the guy with the home gym, that guy does cardio all the time. As long as there's a thought in their mind that starts to move me away from wrestling. And here's the thing. The novelty, if I was going to do an indie show and go to a merch table, I told you this before, Ben, but people are looking at our pictures to see how much we've changed over the years. I've converted more picture and merch sales and even band sales at a gimmick table because I look mostly the same as I did 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can hear him right now catching some breath. He's on the elliptical right now while co-hosting, while cutting promos.
I'm on the spin bike, actually. The elliptical, I don't want to break it again. That'll be in the third. But really, I mean, to Ben, you know it. We talk about it all the time. Whenever you start, as we all do, we look at it and say, what if I got that chance? How come I'm not getting that chance? And then you turn around and I tell you, dude, you're actually doing a lot better than these guys. Just because they're on TV doesn't mean they're making a lot of money. Doesn't mean they have any opportunity. We have people that are close to us that escaped the bubble, went back to the bubble, and now they don't even want to use their God-given talents to try to make side money when they're working 1 day a week. That's crazy.
It's on the work ethic and drive at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You're right on with the living in the past and whatnot. Are you going to make the future, you know? And obviously you made around the fitness brand. I think it's fucked up, though. You should have started like me, just looking like shit, and then you don't have to fall off. So I can just go back to looking like shit if I need to. Everything for me is climbs. It's an improvement. So.
I was going to say I almost lifted my shirt all the way up, but that's for the OnlyFans.
That's Chris Parker needs a competition. But yeah, it was I got killed on UFC this week, and I'm betting like all the guys who were supposed to be finishers, I would pick the round and how they usually finish. They didn't. They went to decision. All the guys who should finish that should be killers got knocked out by the upset guys. So, dude, I went for like 0 for 8. Not that I bet more than $20 total, but I just can't. I can't handle. I know David was getting hot at me blowing up at him. Every time I lose a bet, even if it's $1, I want to like nuke somebody's city and send their children to prison camps. Like that's my.
Oh, so you're the incoming government.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, by the way, I didn't even know there was UFC on. When's McGregor fighting Poirier?
Next Saturday. There's UFC Wednesday this week, and then Saturday as well. So that's the next big one.
They're getting dangerously close to oversaturation right now, like wrestling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the big thing this weekend was that they were on ABC. Was it CBS or ABC? One of them.
ABC because ESPN has the UFC deal.
Right. So that was big, but dude, the Max Holloway fight, he had this guy knocked out, and his corner should have thrown in the towel in round 3. I had Max Holloway to knock him out. Dude, they go 5 rounds. They just let Max Holloway beat the fuck out of this guy, Qatar, and just keep sending him back out there to get rifled in the face with punches, bro. Like Max Holloway broke the punch record and connection record. And the last 2 rounds, this guy just ate shit. But then Max Holloway's going, I'm the greatest boxer in UFC history. I go, well, if that may be true style-wise, but if it weren't, that guy'd be laying on his ass right now. You can't be saying you're the greatest boxer while the guy's fucking still standing in front of you. These motherfuckers gotta finish, man. Like, there's just something where they get so good at their craft that they lose their animal primate instinct to just like kill a man, how I could just kill a man, and they just stay in there for the points. I hate that shit. I want murderous intent in every fight.
Do you think he's going for the Mayweather payoff by saying that?
I think he could. Dude, that would actually be a good fight, Max Holloway versus Floyd Mayweather, but you know, that takes away half of Max's game with no kicks and shit either.
Yeah. Where's Ted at? Is he okay?
Yeah, he's writing the Monday morning monologue. So, you know, and RBB feeling a bit under the weather this morning. So I'll let you go, man. You get back and bust the sweat. I appreciate you doing the run in, and I hope you put that tweet out about Trump just to get the heat.
And there'll be one tweet this year. Who knows? It's that saying: you either die the hero or live long enough to become the villain. So now people are starting to get mad at me for posting fitness equipment reviews during this troubled time in our life. So I posted a YouTube review and I got a ton of hate for it just because how dare you?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I definitely, if you want to ammo dump those other videos you've been working on review wise, I'm happy to put them up on Hamin Media Group on Patreon, man.
Yeah, we'll look into it. We'll talk about it.
All right, dude. You have a good morning. Thanks for doing the run in, buddy.
All right, see you, man.
Right. There he is, Cardio Stevie Richards, man. Who else can host a podcast while they're getting crazy reps in, giving esoteric high-level answers on everything from fitness to human rights and NFL high-level breakdown, man. What an incredible human being that guy is. There's no doubt about it. And I'm so lucky to be able to tag with him on Russo brand and obviously here at Hamin Media Group to have him as my top consigliere, along with Strangler Steve and other great veteran minds. When I'm back against the wall, they can give me clarity and help me get my mind right, dude. Absolutely. So appreciate him being able to run in here this morning. And if you like heavy breathing, then that was for you. Daniel Price wants to be the secretary of fucking all. Boom, you got it, brother, and that's your spot, dude. But yeah, it's going down. 20,000 troops in DC, and everyone's like, oh, it's for the inauguration. Well, what if that's just a Trojan horse to have them in there for whatever purposes? I'll let your own imagination run wild on that one, brother and sister. But it's the Monday locker room, locker room. Yeah, Stevie's doing that ASMR payoff stuff in there. So if you like heavy breathing, just turn that up. So you're doing. I'm Borgen right now. That was fucking me up yesterday too. We'll see if it catches up. Let me know. Check 1 2 1 2. Check. We all did our best now. We all need to rest now. Leave me alone. Wait by the phone. Anybody check me out. Let me know what's going on. As we wait for Dr. Ted on the run in, y'all, Amp Williams is in the house. He's going through some shit right now. He needs all the uplifting he can get, homie. Appreciate you, big dog. Well, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, man, you want all peace. So hopefully you can find some inner peace today, man. Maybe get a good workout in and do a little meditation, bro, and what you can envision for your life in 2021. And just don't, what's coming up this week with more madness and propaganda. Just don't let them get to you. How am I sounding? Am I fucked up? Any better? Check 1 2. I don't want to keep continuing if it's the shits. Yalla. I'm just waiting for the high sign from you guys. Let me know how it's going. But yeah, dude, we all got to lift each other up. There's no doubt about it. And you know, healthy mind, healthy body. It's still kind of fucked up. All right. But no days off ever, you guys, whether it's production, physical fitness, you know, and even a day off can be your stretch day. And that foam roller, man, that saved me more than anything. Sounds glitchy. It has sandpaper. I'm going to try and drop out and drop in. This could be tragic. Check Walrads, check Amp Williams, Hope Spot, cutting it in and out. Leave me alone. Why is internet suck shit so bad? You know, like is it because they want to push 5G on us so hard? I've seen the commercial rollouts. Let me know if that's any better after I dropped in and dropped out. Beard could definitely use some oil this morning. I know this isn't the most gripping content, but I don't want to go forward and miss anything. Any better than it was or no? Oh, brilliance. Good morning, Media M5. See you in the chat room as well. I know if you're a listener, I'm just waiting for some confirmation. You're still hearing the same sound quality glitchy. All right, give me 1 second. I'll be right fucking back. Check. We'll see if this does anything. Dude, I'm about to bail on StreamYard, I think. Try another one. I was having problems last night during a meeting too, so this is unacceptable. Still wonky. Same. What the fuck? My voice is. If this doesn't do it, use the A10 Mini Pro. I don't even know, man. Like if it is or it isn't. Voice is 2 seconds behind. See if I kicked out. See if anything's better. Nothing like trying to do a show and being frustrated. We're bad. We're back. We're good. Yalla. Sometimes it's StreamYard in and out. Who knows? The sound is great now. I think it's StreamYard, man. Whatever, dude. So that'll be fun. 2 minutes of fucking bullshit in the middle of a show. Love when that happens. Nothing I love more than technology woes in the days ahead. You know, we'll see where it goes with 5G. We're good to go. Much better. Hope Spot. Thank you guys. Appreciate you hanging in with us. I'll give the rundown and the shout out. Greg Mosier, Andrew L, Hope Spot, Walrads, K Bob, L Robinson, Born of Metal, Daniel Price, Media M5, the Stevie Richards, and there's Amp Williams in the house. Big brother Amp, always good to see you, man. Paul F, and nobody worth remembering, my man Brendo. Shout out to you and Paul F and all the guys hanging and banging, guys. 19 strong here. Buckshot Kids in the house this morning. Booyaka. On Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I have a dream, and that's hopefully to never read another headline because my dreams turn into nightmares. But while we wait for co-host run in here, I will start the His Ed Lizines, you guys, for what's today, the 18th. So WWE Superstar donates his hair. Well, that's cool. WWE Superstar, who do you think it is? Samoa Joe. Wow. Shared on Instagram that evening that he donated his hair to the nonprofit organization Children with Hair Loss, CWHL. Samoa Joe posted a photo with his hair in the caption. It was a good run. I can feel you there, brother. I'm growing mine in and I'm feeling bald as can be, but it was a good run. Hopefully he'll find a better purpose at CWHL_org. Hashtag cut past love. CWHL provides human hair replacements at no cost to children and young adults facing medically related hair loss. The organization opened in 2000, and he cut his ponytail off. I didn't even realize he still had it. I thought he had the short hair. So kayfabe ponytail. I mean, we haven't seen him in the ring. I don't know if he's going to go baldy after this like he used to or not, but it'd be interesting. There's a guy who, going back to our other thing, I'd like to see him get in shape instead of sitting there sedentary. Yes. And not, and putting on that weight. He's a dude much like me, and I'm sure with a lot of, his own genetics of Samoan and, Islander culture, those guys can be as squatty and pack on a ton of weight and look like the front line of any football team, but not heart healthy and things along those lines. So, and I know Russo kind of felt the same way about him a little bit. It was tough to book for him because you never knew what kind of shape he was going to be in. I wish that guy would be able to stay in shape, but this guy's always in shape, ready to hang and bang. Thanks for making the run in, Dr. Ted, this morning, backed up with patients out the doorway looking for that vaccine. So hopefully you mixed up a new batch of it in the hot pot last night, and we're good to go with some vaccinations this morning. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Well, no, I've decided to try a new trial. I'm doing some research here at the Man Beast compound. I've decided to lock myself in the closet, and I figured if I can stay here, eventually I'll become immune, right? If I just stay away from everything.
Yes. I mean,
if there's any science behind that, I have to say I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I am not an immunologist. I am not a physician. Any and all advice taken in regards to vaccines coming from me is invalid. I can help you with your muscles and your joints and your bones and any kind of orthopedic problem, but immunization is not one of them. But that being said, we're trying some new things out. Actually, trying the acoustics in here. I'm going to have to clear some stuff out, but I might have found a new space for me to fashionably late. When I saw Stevie was on here, I was scared shitless. I'm glad he's off, because it's like when the veterans there and you come into the locker room and you didn't help with ring setup and you're trying to sneak in and all of a sudden you get caught and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I like tiptoe in. I've been there.
And Stevie was already there an hour before everybody else, warming up, doing weights and shit like that, just to see. He knows every order of everybody who tries to sneak in, man.
It's like the story of Rip was told on the podcast. I think he's may even talked about it on here, so I'll be brief. But about when he was Rod Steele and I believe Buddy Wayne wanted to train with him, and so the first day he said, "Okay, be there at 6 a.m." They showed up at like 6:07. He said, "Okay, first lesson, be on time." And told him to leave. That was the lesson. It's like, all right, that's a good lesson.
Right. That's it. But man, yeah, they're wondering if if you're going to stay in the closet, come out of the closet, fad change, do a fashion change. You never know what could happen here.
I'm in the closet. Shout out to MSG. That's probably whenever that South Park episode comes around on the Suck My Balls, I almost said Balls Drop podcast. Suck My Balls podcast. Let me know. I definitely would be. That's probably one of my favorite South Park episodes, when Kanye West wouldn't come out of the closet. No, it was Tom Cruise wouldn't come out of the closet.
Cruise, yeah. Big cough.
The West Sticks episode also is probably one of my favorites. I want to be on that one as well. I'm picking my spots here on this Monday morning. So I assume we're about 30 minutes in. I'm sure everything's just been sunshine and roses and just.
I mean, we recounted, UFC. I took a beating on UFC betting. Just everything went against me. Only lost $22, but usually I'm great on the pick'em of the rounds and the knockouts, and I just got housed on every fucking one of them in a rib way. Like everyone who should have finished was a pussy ass bitch and fucking went the distance, and everyone who shouldn't have been the flash knockout got knocked out by the guy they shouldn't have. And then I bet against the Chinese like an idiot against my own principles, and both Chinese went over and worked fights. So it was as stupid as it could be. But then the NFL games won on the Bills. I felt good about that. And Javid gave me some good basketball picks. So we had a good weekend overall. But the football games, we just recounted all the real drama like it was being written like a movie, with Mahomes getting knocked out and touchbacks on what should have been a touchdown and all kinds of crazy shit, man. So it was a good time.
Well, did you listen and get all your advice from the Bottom Line Sportsbook Handicapping podcast on the Hamin Media YouTube? Because if you did, you would have made sure you got all the picks correct. I assume. I don't know the actual picks, but
well, I'm actually Javid is my guy right from the inside. Okay. He gets hot when I pick things that are outside of it. I mean, usually I do well, and I was right in the cut for UFC. I just got my ass tanned, bro, and it was just a rough weekend. But those guys have taken the original $100 I invested, and I had it up to $400 at one time, depending on UFC picks. And now Javid and all those guys are working on the season with NBA. So I know what teams in the NBA are kind of hot, but I don't know any of the players. That's what those guys do. So Javid will give me the lines on this guy's going to do over 23 points, or this first quarter should be under this, things that I would never that's how meticulous he is with it on the lines and taking a look at it. So high level analytics, and you guys have seen it in the Pick'em challenges, what he does with the spreadsheets. Some people's minds just work that way, and I'm glad to be able to combine with them, because the creative artist mind and versus the analytical mind are two separate entities altogether, but they need each other for organization. So I'm glad we have people on staff that are geniuses at that level, because I look at those spreadsheets and I just get a headache before I even fucking think about like having to break down the data. You know what I mean? Like that.
Speaking on that note, I know we've talked about it on here before, but we are actually actively looking if someone is really into stocks. It doesn't mean you have to be, necessarily, everything, but to be, pretty well informed during the day-to-day of it. You're very interested in it. You're reading up on all the news. We definitely have an interest in that, because I know some people have asked about that. And so if you are into that and have an interest, we'd set you up with a co-host, probably someone in wrestling. I'm trying to get on Adam Revolver. Actually, I'm trying to hook him because I know he's really into it as well. But just to be talking about the day-to-day of it, I'd be interested in, to be honest with you. I've been trying to do a little day trading myself, and it's worked out. I invested about $150 at the beginning of the pandemic, and I've made about 100 from that. So, I mean, I've made about 67% return on an investment. It's pretty good, and that's me not knowing what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just like, well, I use this company. I like them. I use this. It's basically, I looked at companies that I use and I picked them, and they, done well. So same time, I would really like a little more nuance and direction and what actually is good to look into, because I don't know that kind of thing. So, and a lot of other people are interested in it. And so if you're interested in that kind of thing, hit us up, let us know.
Absolutely. And we'll stooge off a bunch. It's the Monday Locker Room. You got to hear what the news and rumors are. We got a couple people who've reached out for internships with production, and we may be introducing some new talent along those lines, but we're looking for producers, because as we expand the Hamin Media brand, you guys know it, we've talked about it, whether it's working with Damian Sandow, working with Stevie Ray for SRTV, working with Rip's brand, working with Russo brand, ODB probably coming aboard, and then there's about 5 or 6 more other top name talents that we're going to build brands for from the ground up in 2021. So the free side, you know how important that is to me for free and independent media, needs to stay free. And that means shifting of manpower and recruiting new man or woman power to be able to help in a variety of ways. So if you have interest in doing that, we can help develop skills. If you have some skills, obviously, but even hookups on things like that for new show development. We're going to have a lot going on in the next quarter to give our community members an opportunity to become staff members. That's the way it went with MSG, and look where he is now. Sure, it took 4 years of development, but now he's working side by side with Stevie Ray and some of the highest named guests that we've had inside the platform. So the opportunity is there. It just takes dedication, drive, work, and loyalty. He even hit me up yesterday, somebody kind of coming out of the woodwork who wants to help, who shined us earlier because there wasn't as much glory in it, at the time. But you got to stay the course. You can't try and run in now that there's a little opportunity to get shine and act like people aren't going to see you coming and from what it is, so
it's all about, we want people that are ready to put their feet in the trenches, not people who are going to sit on the outside and just jump in. So yeah, if you didn't jump on and you want that opportunity, then do what you need to do. Put your feet in the trenches, put yourself out there, show that you're willing to work hard. And, I'm not willing to turn anybody down that's willing to put out good content. We're all about quality here at Hamin Media. And so that's the thing is, like, I like that we have a wide variety of people of different backgrounds, opinions, careers. And it's just, we have a wide variety of people. We're always looking to expand that, just, I guess, network of just collaborators and independent creators, and it's a really cool thing that we've got going with people in the wrestling scene, but we have people in the music scene, and people that what's his name, we're talking to Greg Moser doing tattoos and talking about he was talking about interesting that he might have some stories about tattooing people. It's like people from all walks of life that were exposed to in doing this. And I'm sure there's people out there that have other careers that we're not even really, aware of all the things and all the intricacies that go into. And it's just really cool to see just, how people live their day to day, and people have such a variety of different experiences and knowledge that we continue to grow and inspire creativity and just continue to just get better from that. It's just really cool.
Yeah, I'm actually here on Stevie's wife's, Christy Mana's podcast. MSG was just on there talking about his job as an executive producer now. So that's a great one. Career Junkie podcast, Christy Mana. You guys add that, Stevie's wife, and he's doing production on that. Just if you're looking for a new career and you're like, hey, what's this about, before you jump in both feet, then that's a great podcast to listen to. She's got all kinds of people from every walk of life.
At some point, I need to arrange. I know I talked to Stevie about it before. I need to try to find a time on there, talk about being a physical therapist and home health PT. It has some great benefits, and there's also some things that absolutely I dread about it, but there's some people that absolutely love it. And I think it's a great career for the right people. And I certainly at some point that we'll have a chance to have a dialogue about it. And I couldn't agree more. I think it's a great service. And so it's something that, I think at this day and age, you graduate, you go through the system of high school and college, and then it's like, well, then what? You're forced to choose a career path and not really given a lot of formal insight as far as how to decide that. You're just kind of either exposed to something and you hope you like it, or, you just go for something that looks like, hey, this will put, money in the bank, and then end up in a miserable job for the rest of your life. And it happens to a lot of people. So I think that the fact that she has a podcast where you can listen to a wide variety of careers and get some real insight from people that experience this day to day, and figure out what the fuck you actually want to do. I'd really encourage someone that isn't in those kind of jobs, is just there to pay the bills and wishing they were doing something else. That's a perfect podcast to try to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
A plan, hear someone that you like, hit them up and say, hey, how can I start the path towards doing what you do? And then it's just really cool.
She does do great with the dialogue, but you know what? You do great with the monologue. So let's get right to it, baby. It's Monday. It's your mama Monday morning monologue. Yeah.
All right. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Martin Luther King Day, Jr. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. For those of you that have the day off, certainly, take advantage of it as we celebrate and commemorate someone that stood up for just equality in general. It's a great man. But the fact is, I'm just a little upset, Ben, because it's 2021 and Sharks still get a whole week while Martin Luther King just gets one day. And you know what it is? Honestly, I'm going to say it right now. It's great white privilege. This. But anyway, let's get on to the wrestling, man. In a post on Instagram, AEW ring announcer Justin Roberts spoke about why AEW Dark is important and said that he wouldn't mind a show with 20 matches. And if he were here right now, I would grab him by the cheeks and say, don't you ever say that. Don't you ever say you want a show with 20 matches. Don't ever say that.
Never.
No, Justin. No, don't let that man book. Take away his booking.
Unless you do 19 2-minute get over matches, and then the last match is a Broadway. And that, could you book it that way?
Stretch, so we'll talk about it. Mathew McConaughey, he's a fan of professional wrestling. I don't know if you know that, Ben, but he opened up recently about potentially getting in the ring with Maria Menounos for her podcast. How would he be? Do you think he'd be any good? I personally think he could be all right. You know,
Yeah.
the older I get, storylines just say the same. I tell you.
I think it'll be the shits either way.
Yeah. Matt Riddle, or just Riddle now, he's happy to see the UFC changing its policy regarding marijuana, even if it's a little bit late for him. The UFC announced that it would significantly be changing its rules around marijuana. Retroactive to January 1st, a positive test for THC will no longer be considered a violation of the drug policy unless USADA can prove that an athlete intentionally used it for performance-enhancing purposes. Riddle praised the move, writing, "I got the greatest birthday gift of all today, maybe 9 years late, but still an amazing gift. And one more thing, my record is 10-3, bro." Later that night, apparently a cop pulled over Riddle and said, "How high are you?" And Matt Riddle responded, "No, officer, it's high. How are you?" Marco Stunt, he had an apology, guys. He's sad to say that despite his best efforts, he won't be getting any taller, as he posted to Twitter on Friday. Well, not with that kind of attitude. You know, let me tell you, any pizza can be a personal pan pizza if you just believe in yourself, okay? So don't give me that shit, Marco. Come on, you're better than that. And last but not least, getting married and you want Raven to officiate your wedding? Well, now's your chance, guys. Raven wrote on Twitter, "Yes, I do. I also give away brides and perform circumcisions. Contact office at theraveneffect.com. He said, "I haven't done any yet, but come on, who wouldn't want to see me slice some skin off some stranger's baby schmeckle?" Well, Raven certainly gets right to the point, but if you do hire him, make sure you leave a tip. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Monday morning monologue.
Yeah, I like that, man. Some great stuff in there as well, and things in the headlines I wanted to cover too. You guys know it. That's why you had a little late running, but always well worth it for the Monday morning.
The thing is, here's what it is, Ben. Is I ribbed myself in doing this as a challenge. Now I've realized it's an expectation that people have, and I certainly can't let the loyal listeners down. I have to do the Monday morning monologue every Monday. Whether or not the news is good or bad, whether or not the jokes are good or bad, I have to sit down and I have to make myself write jokes and figure out a way to make jokes out of this news stories. That's what I have to do. So there it is.
Well, most times those jokes in the news stories write themselves, like a Bella wanting to be on the creative team.
And for them to do, just leave. There's the headline. There you go. That's the joke.
There it is.
We talked to a couple of dignitaries yesterday that hopefully will have thank you very much, Mike. That's gross. I'm very privileged to have the opportunity to do this for you guys, whether or not you all like the jokes or not. I appreciate the opportunity to at least do my best. But I wanted to say, though, I've realized anyone that has those circle lights, we talked to those guests of ours yesterday that hopefully we'll be working with soon, some wrestling knowables. But I realized here's the key. You have to have the circle light above the horizon of where you're looking. So if I look up at all,
there it is. Yeah, but no, it's got to be above.
Straight on at the camera or down. Okay. So there you go.
I'll you solve the light issue. one for the good guys.
We'll get on the horn right after this.
Here's one for Daniel Price. When it's warm, Ted needs to do it on a lone fallen tree trunk in a field. Monologue. You're fired, Daniel Price. Thanks for playing. But yeah, man, we talked real quick about, before you jumped on, Samoa Joe. I was just starting the headlines, donating locks of love, his hair, his ponytail, for children with hair loss replacement. I'm been debating with the beard, and I don't know if any kid would want fucking all these big pubes on their head, but yeah, maybe I'll donate the beard one day too as well.
And you know what, man, it'd be really cool. We have a charity here in Louisville. I've done a couple times. I wouldn't mind doing it again. St. Baldrick's Day is what they call it, and it's around St. Patrick's Day. And literally, that's just the community gets together. A lot of times they'll have some cheap beers that you can get to, and like they'll charge like $1 more, and so all that goes to the charity to help give help people that can't pay for cancer treatments, childhood cancer, shit like that. But, it's a really good charity. And it's like, people absolutely would. And the fun thing is you'd be perfect, Ben, because like they do like auctions and shit, like people like I get on the mic and try to hype shit up and be like, so I can see Ben, absolutely, come on, you morons, if you want to see this beard,
I'll get them,
whatever, you know what I mean? And people will throw in the money and get it. And then all of a sudden, well, fuck, Ben, has to shave his, that'd be great. You know what I mean? We should live.
Really want to do it. we'll get a dunking booth, and I'll get out there and talk shit for like 2 or 3 hours. Then put me on stage, and we'll take her off. I'll have insulted everyone, and they'll be throwing money up there to watch me get fucking.
Yeah.
But good stuff, man. And like I was saying, Stevie was on the bike, cardio wise. I hope Joe is one of those guys that doesn't put on a ton of weight later, and that he does try and get in shape for himself. Because if you're not going to when you're on camera, it's going to be even tougher when you're outside of the wrestling bubble. But a good story there from Samoa Joe, and from the Monday Morning Monologue. I was thinking about this. This isn't really a story, but now, with them lifting the weed ban or whatever on Riddle and the brothers there who smiz a ton. What the hell's their names? The two Latino brothers who are bad as fuck in UFC. One fought Connor. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He got booted for fucking smizzing, and he's on the shelf. But now they came back and like performance enhancing smiz. Like, you're gonna fucking go rip a blunt of Gorilla Glue before you go out there. Yeah, Nick Diaz, thank you. The Diaz brothers. The fucking I wanted to call them the Menendez.
Well, they say that sativa is supposed to make you more creative. So when you smoke that, they know to figure out submissions, and because they're creative.
Creatively get your fucking nose broken because you're not with your shit all the way. But yeah, the Diaz brothers now can be as free as they want to be with it. But yeah, dude, I think there's potential for Riddle to go back, but here's the fight and I know they're out of weight classes a little bit. They wouldn't be too far apart, I gotta believe, but Riddle versus Hager in Bellator. How about that? And both of them enjoy smiz. And not that I'm trying to out Hager here or anything, but we're pro wrestlers. That's what we do.
I feel like that's a fair fight, though. I feel like Hager would just kill him. You know what I mean?
From what I've been seeing in the working fights between Sheamus and Riddle, and fucking Riddle and Bobby Lashley, like beating the fuck out of each other, even in a working way. Like, I feel that Riddle might be able to be ready to handle someone who's even taller and bigger, 20, 30 pounds heavier in an exhibition.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If he'd be willing to do it, I would want to see it. Absolutely. So,
they should actually both have to smoke a blunt on the way to the ring in their entrance of that. Now that would be
during the rest rounds instead of
rest rounds, they come over vape gimmick real quick. Good stuff. I think Riddle has a good chance against Hager too. Media M5 says I agree with that, because Hager, an all-American wrestler, a pro wrestler, and a couple of wins in Bellator. But I think Riddle's skills, MMA-wise, are above Hager's, and that will even out the size difference. And, I've trained with Hager and seen him. I've been on a lot of shows with him. His legs it doesn't matter how much you train legs. If you have thin legs, you're going to have them. That's just genetics. And I think there's opportunity there with Riddle's skills to capitalize on him. If he tries to match upper body punches and all that shit, I think Hager could house him all day long, but there's a lot that he could do to Hager's legs that would give him a big advantage after round one. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Stoner dream booking, to be honest with you. And I'll ref it. Fuck it. Why not?
Does it have to do with anything with stoners? But Rip was getting into just fights on the last FR podcast, or one of the ones that we did recently. And I'm curious to offer you this fight. Who do you think would win, Lesnar or McGregor?
Lesnar would unscrew McGregor's head like a fucking.
Okay, all right, because Rip said the same thing. So yeah,
there's no dude. Lesnar could grab a hold of McGregor and just squeeze his arm and bring him to the ground. there wouldn't even have to be any fighting. Like the power difference is too much. Like that's where you grab a $1 million or the $1 million dream on him, and there ain't nothing that fucking McGregor can do. Brock could lean back and lift McGregor's legs off the ground, and they'd be kicking like that, and you'd expose these shit talking one. That's why I go in on Japan and all these fucking dudes in UFC who people think they're bad as fuck. But like, yeah, in their weight class, let them fight a man who's got 70, 80 pounds on him. They might get behind him and get quick and fucking thinking something, absolutely submission wise. But if you're talking about banging on left and right hooks and straights, dude, I have no fear of Conor McGregor whatsoever.
But going back to the same thing, I guess the size differential isn't quite as much between Riddle and Hager. Do you think Riddle could take Lesnar?
No, I don't think so. Brock is a freak, bro. Like Brock is just you stood next to him. He's not as tall, but he's so wide.
First time I met him, I was like, whoa. He made me take a step back, like, all right, that motherfucker's big dude.
Yeah, dude. He's just next level, you know, like he's not, it's not even next level, he's beyond the next level. But when you're with Hager, you know he's got mad skills and he's a big dude. But you don't get that same, like, holy shit, that guy's a Nazi experiment gone wrong feeling that you get from Brock. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, dude. Micro says, I want to see Brock versus Tyson in the octagon. Dude, Brock would kill him like that. That wouldn't even be a fight. Like, Brock would take him down and pound him out in 2 seconds.
Now, in a boxing match, that'd be more interesting.
Tyson maybe would. I don't think
interesting. It'd be more of a fair fight for sure. In octagon, yeah, Tyson doesn't have a chance, but
no chance.
Match it can at least go a little longer.
But yeah, man. Lesnar's one weakness is diverticulitis. Well, yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do about that shit? But at the end of the day, bro, if you're talking about warrior on the battlefield, that guy is a fucking unparalleled. Like, it's just some freak show shit. And unless you stood next to him, like, or seen him live or like up close, it's tough to really get a appreciation for it. Serena, go ahead.
Okay. No, I did want to kind of divert, only since we were just talking about the Samoa Joe charity thing. This was kind of also a kind of a charitable story, unless you and Stevie already covered it about the Batista thing and the Manatee. Did you, or did you have?
I didn't bring that up because I saw the headline and it pissed me off, kind of. So, but Batista's put out a 20,000.
Yeah, I have it here. I can read it out. It said earlier this week, WWE Hall of Famer Batista offered $20,000 in reward money for the arrest and conviction of those responsible for an act of animal cruelty against a Florida manatee that's currently being investigated by federal authorities. They're currently seeking information on the person or persons responsible for carving the letter spelling Trump into the back of a manatee in Florida. Batista wrote on Monday, if there's not already a reward for the arrest and conviction of the low-life scummy maggots, I didn't know he said that, that did this, I'll throw in $20,000 and I promise there will be bonuses to that reward. Well, 2 things I'll say right off the bat. Just because they wrote Trump doesn't mean that they were MAGA people, because they're at the same time, both sides are doing the warfare thing where they're also staging things for the other side. So the fact that he assumes that shows me wrong. But to still say that you want to get the person arrested and convicted for having animal cruelty, I do agree with that. As someone that is an animal person, like, that is bullshit that someone did that. Either it doesn't matter what side they did it for, whether to frame or whether to campaign, whichever it was. Either way, and whoever did it should be convicted.
As a pro wrestling booker, as a wrestler who works the crowd, what do you think there's a better chance of? That it was a conservative MAGA person doing some fucking damage on an animal and putting it out there, and putting the story out to shock the world in that, or that was done by leftists to create propaganda, drama, and more hate against them, and then Hollywood sells for it. Down which one of those paths do you think the guilty party lies?
Honestly, I think it could be either side, man. I really do. I think it's
definitely a setup propaganda piece by the left that did it to flood it out there, to do all that kind of shit, bro.
I think it very well could, absolutely. But to me, I still say it's 50-50 personally.
I say it's 70-30 left side, and it just the smell of the work of it all tilts the fucking side.
How come no online website is taking on these kind of bets?
right. As far as we go, we need to get
to find out which side it is.
And then when you have Gay Mafia controlled Batista coming in over the top, it all smells of a motherfucking massive work to me, bro. It really, really does. So
Batista pulled out the manatee himself. He Batista bombed him on the beach, and then it's like, Batista.
Yeah. So keep getting your Illuminati tattoos. Keep dressing like you're on the casting couch with all the fun boys at the mansions, because that's what's going on with him right now to keep that Hollywood career going. So to toe these type of lines, it just fucking, as a worker, I go, you're telling the story to me right now. You're telling me what's going on. Serena Deeb will tell you what's going on. If she would have left WWE if the pandemic never happened. NWA Women's Champion Serena Deeb was on the recent episode of AEW Unrestricted podcast. I got to listen to that today, where she opened up about her time as a WWE as a coach. She talked about her involvement in the Mae Young Classic, coinciding with her signing for her to be a coach at the Performance Center. She said, well, I stopped wrestling in 2015 and I moved to California. I'd stepped away at the time. I was really burnt out on the business and I thought I want my life to move in a different direction. Then in 2017, when I was contacted by WWE, they asked me, we're doing this tournament. It's the inaugural Mae Young Classic. We're bringing women from all over the world. You haven't been in the ring in a couple of years, but would you do it? Bring me in to wrestle for a tournament. They made me aware that they were thinking about me as a coach even before the tournament, and I just wanted to bring me in and check to see if I was a good fit, if I vibed at the Performance Center and climate. And so I came in to wrestle those couple matches, knowing that realistically a coaching tryout, and it went really well. I came back a couple more times for a week or a week here and week there, and it seemed to be a really good fit. Deeb then discussed her love for coaching, how she could take what she was taught and teach that to younger wrestlers. She discussed the dynamics of being a wrestler compared to being a coach, where being a coach means you're responsible for the physical and mental well-being of people. She says, I absolutely love coaching. I feel like I was really lucky to have some of the best training in OVW and even FCW a little bit later down the road. So it was cool to be a coach and kind of teach some of the lessons that were taught to me. I could hear Rip Rogers' voice in my head all the time. Boy, don't we all. Al Snow, Danny Davis, I could hear them all as I'm coaching. And that was really cool and kind of a full circle getting to carry on my values and beliefs that were taught to me. I learned a lot, and there's an interesting dynamic going from being a wrestler. As a wrestler, you could be relatively selfish. You have to think about yourself, your own career, and all these things related to you. And then when I was coaching back there, I was responsible for now all these women from a physical standpoint, keeping them safe in the ring, from mental and emotional standpoint, keeping them sane, good luck, keeping them positive and keeping them encouraged in a climate where that's hard to do. Goes on, but yeah, that she had given me the Iggy yesterday. She was talking about Rip and Danny and Al 100%. I mean, this is the last 5-year journey that we've been on together, you know, after her leaving wrestling. And, you know, obviously people who don't know, now you know that there's a group of us from OVW that we call ourselves the Core. And, you know, whether it's her or Rick Victor, Jamin Olavencia, ourselves, Adam Revolver, there's Ali Vaez, Silvio, and Paradise. Susio, if you will. I'm sure there's others I'm leaving out, you know, right in the mix right now, but that we're together every day, rode together every day, and we talk even every day now about everything that goes on with our careers. So that bond will always be stronger. When she was, you know, in California doing yoga and you know, doing food service and whatnot, she was unsure to come back of what it was going to be. And that started this whole road. And we know what happened post WrestleMania and COVID and but she never got the shine that really she should have in WWE. You were in CM Punk's Straight Edge Society. So was Dewey. And then so was she, and went on the road for it. And then that kind of came crashing down. And she went away, but now she's on top, being able to showcase the skills that really only a Molly Holly, a Beth Phoenix, and a Mickie James possess at the highest level. I put Serena in that category of those four. Every other woman is kind of trying to strive and achieve. And those women I just named, all four came from OVW as Danny Davis, Al Snow, Rip Rogers properties. That's not by chance that these women outshine every other single performer and set the standard for where women's wrestling should be. It's not Charlotte Flair. It's not Becky Lynch. It's not Sasha Banks. It's not Bayley.
Ding dong. Hello?
They cannot lace the boots of these women. And that's just the truth, because they came along at a time and they weren't trained by the best in the biz, who trained Brock Lesnar, who trained these top stars. And these women trained in the exact same way that the men trained. That's why they outshine everyone else.
I don't feel it. What else can I say on top of that? I feel I can't add too much other than to segue into a similar story, although she wasn't, I guess, necessarily trained by those. Although I'm sure Al probably did have a hand in helping her develop. It was sad to see one, Gail Kim as well, but one Madison Rain who announced her retirement this past weekend, and what a shame, because I feel like, I think I've said before that I thought, as far as in the current crop of wrestlers today, I was placing her in the top 5. So it's a shame to see her step away, because certainly she was someone that was able to elevate whoever she was in there in the ring was. And, while she may have not, necessarily made a career as being at the, top of the women's division necessarily, but she was always, but I'd say absolutely the women's division was built on the backs of people like Madison Rain, that the women's division was able to be built on the backs of people like her, because she was able to elevate the rest of the people that she was in there with. And so while, I hope that she does go down in the history books as being one of the great women's wrestlers, despite not being having a big run in WWE or whatever, because I feel like, especially for Impact and for TNA, she was a standard and an anchor to that women's roster and division in that locker room, and absolutely helped bring everybody up. And she'll certainly be missing the wrestling ring. I remember when the couple spots she did for us in OVW when I was helping book there, she was an absolute pro and working with our girls and helping to elevate them. She came in on our show at 4th Street. We did a 9/11 tribute show, and she absolutely put over our champion. I wasn't necessarily a squash, but it was about the next closest thing to it. And the fact that she went out there, and I think their time was cut short. Instead of being selfish, she went out there and did the job and did it well. She made our champion, who, to be fair, was very green and not very capable, and made her look like $1 million. And so Madison Rain will certainly be missed in the ring. I hope she still goes out there and puts out her knowledge, whether it be seminars, podcast interviews, or even occasionally, as most wrestlers tend to do, make an occasional appearance every now and again, and still lace up the boots and get in there with some of these girls, just because the only way one truly gets better in wrestling is by getting in the ring with those that are better than you. So I hope occasionally she'll do a spot here and there, because she certainly knows her shit when it comes to doing what he needs to be done inside the squared circle. And as far as being part of the regular women's roster, she will most certainly be missed.
Oh, 100%, man. I couldn't have said it any better than that, as I had the story up here, and you put it way more eloquently, so I don't need to overdo that. And, I'm not sure if she wants to do the mom thing, and maybe that's why she's stepping away, or
if that's the case, that's the money. That's where the money is. Let me tell you. I hope it is. And maybe I hope she makes bank doing the mommy thing, because as other women have found recently, it's a very equitable way to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Or the fact that she has been in this business for so long and is a professional at whatever you want: production, office management, talent handling, any corporate entity she would be successful in. I could see her
coming backstage to help run the show and produce and shit. And if so, even better. But
Josh Matthews, a lot of people do or don't know that that's her husband, and that like he got it promoted to executive producer now too. So a guy who's put in tons and tons of time from the first Tough Enough, if you want to go back all the way to Johnny Nitro, to where he is now, man. They've really been a cornerstone in Impact Wrestling, and people would, feel one kind of way about Josh. I thought that Madison Rain and Josh Matthews could have been the best announced team in the history of Impact, to be honest with you, in the last days here. And she played it up great to not put over their relationship, and will get great inside ribs and digs on him on the mic that had me laughing my ass off, dude. So she shines no matter what spot she's given, and she is an A+. There's no doubt about it.
The thing is they didn't just deny their relationship, but they did it in a smart way, to where if you knew they were in a relationship, they get digs to where you knew they were playing that up. Like I remember Josh Matthews saying Josh Matthews saying something about, a relationship or marriage, something about her, and like questioning, them like not being together. And she just shrugged him off, but then she grabbed her ring and then slid it up and down and kind of rolled her eyes. And it's like, okay, subtle little, like, the people that know, but the people that don't know still don't know. And so it was very, just shows the height of her as a character and as a performer, and just, very solid when it comes, not just to in-ring work, just to being a performer. She knows, how to get it done, get business done.
A lot of people can't even, that's a supreme worker, to be able to rib in the fake reality while acknowledging what's really going on, wink, wink, and not stooging it off in a way to play that smart level. That's just where we should all be striving for. So thank you for all the bumps you take, or you have taken, Maddie Rain, and whatever your next chapter is, there's no doubt that you're going to be a huge success for it. Hey, man, to be honest with you, hopefully we could cultivate that relationship, and who knows, maybe HMG be handling that mommy brand in 2021, 2022, or wherever she's going, man. I'd be an awesome person to be able to collaborate with on brand dev. So, and I'm sure her vision is crystal clear on what she wants to do. One vision that wasn't crystal clear, and we got to put the heat on him. I haven't watched it yet, but Big Ray said he was not impressed after a year of being super impressed by this guy. I feel bad that this is kind of like but Ethan Page says he's embarrassed with Impact's lazy editing of his Hard to Kill match versus Karate Man versus All Ego Ethan Page, in a produced gimmick, comedy thing. If he's now a free agent and on his way out, I'm not sure. I haven't heard him signing with anyone, but last night on Hard to Kill, Ethan Page took his alter ego, the Karate Man. The green screen infused battle saw Karate Man win the fight after ripping Page's heart out of his chest. Call that. Page is now a free agent, is expected to be leaving Impact for another promotion. No word on where he's exactly headed, although Wrestle Report says he has talks with WWE, AEW, and MLW. That'd be interesting, him and Rich Holiday together. I'd actually see MJF, Rich Holiday, and Ethan Page together. That'd be great. Posting from his personal Facebook account to a Major Wrestling Figures podcast group, Page was apparently not happy with editing Impact did for his segment. Page said he was embarrassed and apologized to his fans if they felt cheated about what was presented to them last night. He said, "From the afterlife, I'm going to take the full-blown break away from social media. I'll be staying active on my personal Patreon as much as I can, and probably in this group too, because I love the Fig Life and you guys. But man, last night sucked." He said, "I'm so embarrassed with how Impact lazily edited the segment last night and forced it to be a joke. I felt the thought of the same guys fighting each other was comedy enough, and the more serious we took it, the better the reaction would be." You always have to play it true, even if it's ridiculous. "But because I left the company, they lied to my face and just did what they wanted the whole time. I'm sorry if any of my fans paid for that pay-per-view and they felt cheated. I honestly feel the free vision I gave away was made with more love, care, and attention to detail. Sadly, I have no control over the creative or final product, and the editor refused to send it to me beforehand. Weird. So I saw it live with you guys and was surrounded by a family, all scratching their heads at that high school project level delivery on pay-per-view. Oof. I pray people know that I didn't edit that hot garbage. I actually begged Impact not to even have Karate Man on TV. I only wanted it for my YouTube channel, but we don't write the shows. We just get the scripts and do our best. I don't know what else to say. It breaks my heart this company refuses to respect its talent or its fan base on a regular basis. I tried." Wow. Page has since removed his social media profile photos and recently posted a video called "The Waiting Room," teasing his next move in pro wrestling. Well, wasn't that what Britt Baker's new segment's called, "The Waiting Room"? So, dude, it kind of a stinger on the way out where, this guy got in the best shape we've ever seen him in. He cuts an unbelievable, probably the second best promo in wrestling right now behind Eddie Kingston, in my opinion. The North had a hell of a run, and now his partner's left there to kind of dangle while he's going to go on to maybe greener pastures. But on the way out, the office either ran out of time and didn't have time to produce it quality wise, or they did it shitty to fucking kind of F you on the way out and not give them a big shine going forward, which is usually the more wrestling reason for doing things. But it seemed to me that he was doing good business on his way out, even though they ribbed him by fucking having Hornswoggle go over on him as AJ Styles, and things along those lines. The vindictiveness of wrestling translates to the presentation of On His Way Out, and now he comes back to the sheets, gets one last fuck you to Impact in, which I didn't think was there, but kind of exposes the dark side of the biz, Briz, of how things go in this industry.
Well, and that's where we don't know, and so I don't want to. Well, I will speculate, but I think it could be certainly one of those two things. But the thing is, I guess the reason I don't lean towards it being something that was like it was part of a cynical plan to do him under is you wouldn't dedicate time on a pay-per-view to someone that you're wanting to bury. Not, you know what I mean? Like they gave him the time, so you wouldn't do that to someone that on the way out you just wouldn't give them TV time. So that's where I think honestly it comes down to not enough people there having quality control over the segments, and I can say for sure that happens. It's, not to get into the intricacies, but that's a big reason why I ended up leaving OVW, simply because the quality control measures weren't there, and not even being allowed to step in and to do that. I just couldn't stand by that.
But here's the thing. Here's
the thing. If they had, like, I feel like if I was overseeing that, I could have for sure produced that to quality. Anyone on our staff could have. And I'd even say, if anyone from Impact's listening, I'd be more than glad to offer our services as far as helping produce wrestling segments on, under the table and just working with, what we need to, because we know how to get the business done. But at the same time, if those measures aren't in place, unfortunately, shit like this can absolutely happen. And then you're left with someone that's bitter towards the company in a situation that shouldn't have happened. And nothing's good for anybody. Impact fans are left with a bad taste in their mouth because the segment didn't come across well. The talent's not happy. And so then return business is hard to do later down the line. And the thing is, this can all be because of just not having those systems in place. And it just shows how quickly that can deteriorate. So I'm one to believe that it was because of just simply the measures weren't in place versus it being something that they were trying to be out to get them.
I'd like to believe that. That's obviously where Hamin Media Group can shine. I see El Plaza's in the house right now as well, and 4VKM, MSG, myself, you, all here ready to help. And not we need to shine. If we got something on TV and got it over to help because they didn't have time to do it, well, that's just good collaboration and farming your stuff out. But those types of responses that he's putting out, and somebody said, it's on Ethan Page, he does bad biz on the way out or whatever. Not bad biz, but like he might have an ego on the way out. He did it with Gabe and Evolve. I disagree. The guy I've met doesn't usually have any business like intentions except for making the most out of his segment, entertaining. And then when production doesn't back that up, and there may be some personal reasons and business ego reasons for it from on the other side, he's letting them know, why do they keep doing this type of shit to their talent instead of just being like, they didn't have time to do it and they put it out there. And him wanting to see the final cut and getting turned down, that feels wrestling weird to me. You know what I mean? Like there's something else there. So again, it's perception. You want to have a wrestling company going forward, but a lot of the same carny, dark things are happening behind me while they're going, we have the best locker room, we have this or that. Oh yeah.
And let's not forget that sometimes it's also not a systematic thing either. One person can be the cog in the wheel and play the phony bullshit of saying one thing to Scott D'Amore and then saying one thing to Ethan Page, and then they're the ones that are really holding back. And it's like, I don't know what happens. You know what I mean? And meanwhile, you know what I mean? And like people have vendettas against certain people, and then shit like that can happen because one person doesn't like you for whatever reason.
Bass D'Amore though, man, he's a supreme worker, so D'Amore could play the whole.
Sure, you're right too.
But at the same time, him and whoever are tightening the screws on him for whatever Canadian infractions, Smash versus C4 versus Border City Wrestling. There could be 15 things underneath the surface that I don't know about going on in Canada, but. Just sad to see somebody put something on their pay-per-view that's lackluster at possibly the cost of a fuck you to a guy on the way out, when him shining brightly and then moving on does better biz for all the companies. I just wish we could get beyond this type of pettiness behind the scenes that we try and kayfabe for a year, but then at the end on the way out, it always rises to the surface and makes everybody look really less than, and we don't do that here at HMG. That's the turning. That's the difference, you know, and that's probably why they don't call, because we need somebody to do bad biz. Well, I'm not tying my name to bad biz, Briz. But it's somebody you did, and it's kind of getting hot. And I want your opinion on this. Mark Henry says Ryback should apologize for recent comments earlier this week on Fox Twitter account posted the question. The best superstar never to win the WWE Championship is, and former superstar Ryback retweeted the question and noting the wrestling is fake and simply championships are props to get entertainers over with the audience. Wrestling's fake, guys, and the championships are props to make entertainers as champions. Nobody has actually ever won or lost a prop, as scripted physical entertainment is incapable of that. This tweet explains so much on your TV deal with them, Ryback. It's signed. I'm going to try and bring this clip up here and see. Did you hear the Mark Henry's response or no?
No, I literally was looking at, as I was going through making my jokes for the monologue. I saw the responses were so long that I held it back to read later.
I'm going to play this 2-minute clip, and then I want to know what you think, and I'll give my opinion.
A lot of his peers looked at him as difficult. A lot of his peers looked at him as dangerous.
Yeah.
And yes, we talk about it on this show all the time, that it's a show. It's sports entertainment.
Of course.
It is a reflection of sports. We don't use the term fake. The championship is the championship. It's not a prop. And he's wrong. I've been a world champion in 3 sports, and I consider pro wrestling one of those. But it was the politics that got me to the top. It was the fact that I'm damn good entertainer, because entertainment is in the name, the job description. Ryback can't take away what I achieved. There's no way that your bitter ass, and I'm talking to you, Ryback. Your name is not Ryback, but whatever your name is, I don't even know your real name. Skip, whatever it is. You are wrong. Every wrestler that sees your face should walk up to you and say, hey, you're an asshole. And I hope you know how to fight for real, because you know, and I know, there's a lot of people that'll whoop your ass. If I saw you, I would tell you, hey, man, you're an asshole. And if you want it with me, you could get the first one. Go ahead. Your punches taste like candy. And it's a bunch of guys out there that feel the same way that I do, the way you talk shit on our business. I feed my family with this business. This show, hey, it's a show about wrestling. I'm not an active talent. I'm not an employee, but I love the business enough to not let you sit here and talk shit on it and trivialize it because you failed, because you didn't achieve, that you didn't become a champion. So you feel like it's something that's given. It's a prop. You're wrong. What have you ever been a champion in outside of wrestling? Are you a champion in your own home? Do your dogs like you? Do people around you respect you for being more than a wrestler or a musclehead? I've been a musclehead my whole life, and people respect me for it. You owe the wrestling industry an apology. If you don't, I think that pro wrestlers all over the world should never give you respect.
Pretty interesting from 2 OVW Rip Rogers trained guys. I got to go with Ryback. The belt is a prop. And yeah, you might put it on a guy who's the draw, but Mark Henry's never won a WWE championship. To win something, you beat someone for real. You're the champ because your name is written on a fucking piece of paper on the wall. That's why you're the champ that week. Does it take politics, size, and all that to get to that point? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean you're a champion for real. Like when Mark Henry won the gold medal, like that's really training and beating everyone. That's how you become a true champion. The belt is completely a prop. And because you were a freak show, that's really why Mark Henry got to where he did, you know what I mean? And great attitude and training and coachability, all of these things of being the world's strongest man and these feats of strength. But Mark Henry never needed a belt. I don't look at, when I think about championships and when I think about Mark Henry, I don't go, there goes a grade A champ. You know what I think about? A guy I watched dunk a basketball at 350 pounds, a guy who folded fucking a cookware, what do you call, fucking frying pan with his bare hands, a guy who put his shoulders underneath a Jeep Wrangler and lifted it up off of the fucking ground, a guy who had sex with an 80-year-old lady who later would have a hand pulled from her box and then would be the son of. Are any of those things revolving around holding a fake belt and championship? No. And that's what Ryback's saying, his character gets over more than anything. And if you believe you're a true champion, then you're inside the bubble and your head is just kind of cocked over. And I got massive respect for both of these guys we worked with because they both are freaks of nature, draws on the card, and neither of them need a fucking title. Neither of them.
It's a fair enough statement. I would say really what this comes down to, and actually I think from a certain point and a certain place, both are legitimate in what they're saying. I would say in the case of Ryback, well, first I would say he's someone, anytime I've been in the ring with, he's taken care of me. We've actually, despite our size differential, had some really good matches, and he never once hurt me. I always felt safe and protected, and he was always been professional towards me. So because of my experience with Ryback, I absolutely have respect for him. And I'd say Ryback comes from a place where his experience was the belt was used, I believe, as a prop because he was given, I think he said, the Intercontinental Championship. And then that week they came to him for a contract renewal, and they were literally using the title as an opportunity to make a contract move on him. So that way he would agree to a lower number because he had the championship and hoping that he'd be a mark for the belt. So I'd say certainly when you have that kind of situation going on, you'd absolutely feel very cynical towards putting over the championship like it's a glorious thing when you were kind of fucked over by that whole system. I think from Mark Henry's standpoint, you look at the title as you put the title on someone for one of two reasons, either because you think they have the ability to draw money because of something about them, their look, their character, whatever, or there's someone that can help to elevate the championship to put someone over eventually that can draw money. And I think in the case of Mark, he's someone that had been around forever and worked as a journeyman for the long time, and came in when was disrespected by wrestlers coming in, but finally kind of gained their respect as he went through the system and got really good at professional wrestling. Like I'd say Mark Henry got really damn good by the end of it, and they finally had enough faith in him to let him run with the championship. And I think for him, it's a testament of putting the time, the effort, the blood, sweat, and tears into it. And so he's someone that feels very proud of those accomplishments because he was the trust of the company was placed upon him for at least a short period of time. And so when someone comes out of nowhere and says it's all bullshit, from Mark Henry's perspective, it feels like he's shitting on everything that he worked and accomplished with all those years for that opportunity. And so I think honestly that they're just coming from two different places and two different experiences. And I don't necessarily think one is necessarily wrong for believing what they're believing, but I think that's where the conflict comes from, is they simply have had two different experiences in the system. And I think both of them are legitimate for the way they feel.
I can't disagree with that. Massive respect. And that's one of the guys I marked out huge for, not like to his face, but to come back in the locker room and see Mark Henry sitting there after we stabbed up Dean Hill and shit, and to see him reacting, dude, I was like, I knew we got something here. You know what I mean? And to get his approval and work shows with both these guys or help with the original creative for the Ryback character and brand when he was a Terminator with Fang, like we had great times with that, man. And I look at both of those dudes as OVW legends who we came up under and did business for in good ways. And I respect both of their opinions. Obviously Mark Henry, what he's accomplished, and they're both freaks of nature. Just like we're talking about Brock. Like, here's two guys who don't have to really work at being a wrestler and getting over, because when you see them, as soon as they walk through the curtain, there's nobody who can be those guys. Like, what are you going to are you really going to put in the time it takes to be a Ryback in the gym to do that, or have the natural, insane, like superhuman abilities that Mark Henry has? Like that just doesn't, that comes around once in every 10 million people. That's just how it is. So, Mark definitely is trying to protect the WWE as being a Hall of Famer and carrying that pride and respect. I totally understand that too, but let him put himself in Ryback's shoes of being cancel cultured, being unfucking starred, having your name taken, them fucking you over 6 ways to Sunday because you came up in the group of people underneath where Mark Henry got made with John Cena, all them to become stars, and now they're just being held down at every level. Those guys got 2 really big different doses of The Office there. So I think you're spot on with that. I got huge respect for both of them. I wouldn't want to fucking fight either of them, but if you had to pick one in a shoot and it's going down, who you taking, man, Beast?
Ooh, shit. Only because I'd say only from a in their prime standpoint. I think at this point I'd have to go with Ryback. I think he's quite a bit younger. Mark Henry's just, it's just matter like at their primes. That's a different conversation. That's where I don't know. I really don't know. But
in their prime,
go with Ryback just because of the youth.
Honestly. Yeah. I right now Ryback would be it'd be an easy fucking takedown and whatnot based on Mark's legs. Mark's legs. But in their prime, dude, holy shit. What are you guys thinking in the chat room or let us know?
Shout out to Scott Woodford for the what'd you say? Like I said,
super cheers. I think they call them in here.
Yeah, called cheers. But either way, he said it's still real to me. Damn it, go belt props.
Dude, but belts get over. I mean, you talk to us. I mean, I'll put it over. Strangler Steve, I know he's listening. He feels the exact opposite of the way I do with belts being props. He's a belt connoisseur, and he's made them and he's re-leathered them, and a lot of guys that are really into belts. So the guys that are wrestling with Tragedy, Piers Austin, and those guys work very closely with custom belt companies, and that they're a great piece for wrestling fans to have or honor or get their owns or whatever they want to do. Billy Ray Valentine enjoys them too, and Big Ray. So there's definitely guys that are in that vein, but Strangler Steve puts it over of like, it's more about you. The belt is to help the draw, and he makes a great point too. And I'm sure some of that's Killer Kowalski's knowledge. So I guess maybe it's from what school you come from, but I know Ryback and fucking Mark Henry are both from the exact same school that we're from. So I'm glad I'm over 6 feet and I never had to bump for either of them. So you can take all of those, man.
I tell you what, though, I've wrestled a lot of big guys that have kicked my ass and fucking hurt me. Ryback was not one of them, not at all.
Who fucked you over the heart? Who put the hardest beating on you?
Probably Kozlov, but I will say I had an asterisk that I don't think any of it was intentional. I think he was just a fucking beast and didn't know his own strength. I hate to say it because he's a hell of a nice guy, and I thought he had a hell of a lot of potential, but I don't know if you remember Marcus Anthony. He had a short run in NXT under a different name. I think it was Lincoln Braddock or something like that, or Lincoln. He had a hell of a lot of potential, but he was someone that could sometimes be dangerous just by didn't know his own strength. Or he gave me a backbreaker and literally bounced me up so high that I flipped over onto my head, and I've never had that experience before. It's like, oh, how does that even happen?
He's a guy who has so much athleticism that you have to reel him in. I remember he did a 450 and somebody moved on it. I go, bro, A, you don't do 450s, and B, you fucking hit them, and that's the finish if you fucking do not. The fucking Bobby Lashley's up there doing, it was a shooting star, maybe move on the shooting star. I was like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Stop doing that. It's not your spot. But that guy was an impressive son of a bitch too, man.
I'll stooge off another one people would know is, and this wasn't even in a match, it was in training, is Rene Dupree, the fucking prick. He was he was running class, and by running class he was stood in the ring while he had a dip cup in, his eyes looking half drowsy. I'm not saying he was on anything, but not saying that he looked his most alert at that point, and wanted to teach everybody hip tosses and fucking spiked me on my head and hyped his hip, and then he looked at me and goes, you should have posted, brother. Get the fuck out of here. So yeah. There's my
there's the heat of the day. How about Jacob Duncan? That's a big son of a bitch. Not a lot of people outside OVW know about, but he could have been the next Kane. That's kind of the man from the woods.
Missed opportunity. Yeah, I love that gimmick. Yeah, just like this giant man, like almost reminded me of Mice and Men, Big George type of deal. But he had this mask and looked like a monster. But he just wanted to really. I think the story they had in OVW was actually that it was Beth Phoenix at the time, and he caught interest. as like a love interest, but he wanted to help her. He didn't want to hurt her in any way, but obviously being the scary monster going towards her. And then I forget the whole way that worked out, but it was really well done, and it just could have been such an intriguing character.
She teamed, they paid it off to team with him with the kiss gimmick thing, and like it was like Lenny of Mice and Men, Frankenstein from afar, and you know, all that mixed in. It was really, that was a great story.
They brought him up for a dark match. They said take off the mask and had him wrestle with the mask, and then it didn't make any sense, and it just was weird, and then they ended up canning him soon afterwards, and it's like terrible.
They're dumb. They could have done that whole Beth Phoenix thing on WWE TV, and it would have worked.
Over the better part of 6 months to a year. You know what I mean? They could have told that story. You know, they introduced the character. You know, he's a monster, and then all of a sudden he gets intrigued. What's this? Is he trying to hurt this woman? No, he doesn't want to hurt this woman. She can't stand him, but now all of a sudden she's becoming endeared by him. But you know what I mean? There's just so many parts of that story you could tell. And then someone else comes in that tries to pull the wool over her eyes and pull the wool over his eye. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of different ways you can go with it and interweave different characters and get them over. And it's just like, you have such a great opportunity to tell stories, and you want to always go back to, you know, saying we tell stories, but then when those opportunities present themselves, if it's not the story that you thought of, then it's the table. And to me, that's bad business at the end of the day.
It is. And let me mix this one in there. Not a triple threat, because you wouldn't have a triple threat real shoot fight, but in a shoot out of Mark Henry, Ryback, and Kozlov, who are you taking?
Kozlov. He's out there. He's on the shoots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
That guy's and you want to talk about in insane shape, bro? Holy shit. Wow. Current Sasha Banks discusses Vince McMahon changing scripts at the last minute. Said, I get a script every single week, but in WWE, it's so exciting. Our boss is so legendary and crazy and iconic, but again, crazy. He will change things in an instant. Maybe sometimes he doesn't give even you a script, and he just pushes you out there, and you have to adapt. He'll change a script on you in 30 seconds in a heartbeat. You have to be able to react. Banks also spoke about The Mandalorian and revealing how her appearance on the YouTube series, the Hot Ones bullshit with Jon Favreau. Dude, like, look at her try and work, but how fucking terrible and telling is that you have a writing staff of 20-something people, and then they're shoving you through the curtain, changing it 30 seconds before. Get out there! Dude, could not be any more true, telling, and that there needs to be a vote of no confidence in WWE management with a complete takeover.
There you go.
He's so crazy that he shoves us out there 30 seconds beforehand. I wonder what fucking Fox and USA feel about that.
Crazy.
$3.8 million per show. Get out there. We changed it. Well, what am I supposed to do? Who gives a fuck? Winger.
He's so crazy.
He's so crazy, Vince. Matt Cardona makes surprise appearance at Impact Hard to Kill. Wins match over Ace Austin. You know, I'm going to save a lot of that for the Impact attack tomorrow, but you know, here we are. Good brothers doing good brother favors with him and Cody being best friends and getting a shot at AEW, and then Khan, I'd probably kibosh in that of not giving him the contract. There's got to be some weirdness there. Then we've got, you know, his tag partner, Major Brother #1, Brian Myers, a good guy too, in Impact, trying to get over, you know, kind of in the middle, you know, lost, but looks like a star, and gets a good brother favor from the office to get a spot. And now here we are, the cool kids. It just seems, whether the Major Brothers, whatever, man, the cool kids will always reign supreme in this business with a phone call. You guys like you and I can work our fucking ass off to the fucking bone. And one phone call will get somebody a $4,000 appearance, bro. Doesn't that, I mean, I like both those guys, don't get me wrong, but isn't that just a motherfucker in this biz, bro?
Yeah, and that's where, you know, I know Rip told us that too. You know, a lot of wrestling isn't just, you know, what you know, it's who you know. And, you know, if you're related to the boss or friends with them, I remember Rip even said once, you know, he said if you can make the boss laugh consistently, sometimes they just want to keep you around because you make them laugh. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's necessarily the case here, but, you know, the the networking runs deep, and when you're, know the right people, then unfortunately someone else that may otherwise be more qualified or more talented, and again, I'm not saying necessarily that is the situation, but there's plenty of times when unfortunately that's not enough to get them the job because someone else knew someone. And that's just unfortunately the case with this industry, and I'm sure it's the case with any kind of entertainment industry. You know what I mean? It's more on who you know more than what you know.
Mike Roche says, good talent infused while Marco fucking Stunt has a job. I don't want to hate on a guy just because he's small. Marco Stunt is as much of a freak show as Ryback and fucking Mark Henry are. If you use them the right way, dude, if you book Marco Stunt exactly like Spike Dudley, we'd be getting someplace. But instead, we bring out him and Jungle Boy to pull 12 minutes with FTR, who's supposed to be the baddest fucking technicians on the planet. That is terrible booking. They need Marco Stunt should be getting killed, selling like crazy, and then Tully Blanchard steps on his hand outside the ring to hold him down while FTR gets the fucking double snabits on Jungle Boy 1, 2, 3, and they beat him in under 3.5 minutes because one's a comedy tag team with empathy and other are your fucking legit shooters. When your comedy empathy tag team can take your legit shooters to 12 minutes, your legit shooters aren't legit shooters and they don't know what the fuck they're doing out there, and everybody is exposed as just sucking off a paycheck from Khan and saying 12 minutes, oh boy, instead of going 12 minutes, timeout, we're the top guys, they're the comedy dude, let me show you how business gets done in under 3.5 minutes, and let's book another match to get somebody over with 6-7 minutes left. But nobody will stand up because, to be honest with you, I don't think FTR knows how to do business that way. They might keep saying they do, and they got Tully in their pocket, but if they were smart, they'd go, timeout, Big TK, let us help you with booking and show you why, yeah, we'll do this match and do great biz, but here's how it needs to be done. So heat's not on Marco Stunt. Heat's on the fucking booking of not booking Marco Stunt properly.
Yeah.
And Man Beast and Fang and other guys and Silvio and Susio have played that part perfectly here at HMG. So we know what we're talking about when we fucking say this shit.
Yeah.
Chris Statland, I mean, yeah, big shouts to there's Marco should have a job because there's no other wrestlers that are his size that his small stature puts over the fucking massiveness of a Brian Cage or a Murder Hawk, but let's just play it the right way, guys. Chris Statlander discusses the criticism of AEW's women division. Oh boy. When speaking to Pro Wrestling O&A Junkies, Statlander spoke honestly about AEW's women division and the criticism it suffered so far. It's valid to accept criticism, but people have to remember that almost every single girl that got signed has never worked on TV before. Let me stop there. Time out there. That's tough to swallow. Keep going. A lot of men and women on the roster have worked on TV, and if they haven't, they're working with people who've been on TV. We're just learning as we go. We're trying our hardest and doing training before TV every single taping. People that think we're sitting on our butts and hoping things will be handed to us, we're trying hard as we can. There's only so much we can do and only so much time that we can get in a 2-hour show. There's dark, obviously, but it's not live TV. People need to give it time. A lot of these girls, including myself, are working on TV for the first time, and we're not doing matches every week. I believe that we can do better, but Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's going to take time, and everyone has to accept that. Rome also burned, and then everyone also has to accept that. I'll say that. Wow, what a very true statement, and also what a very incorrect and telling statement. Every girl that got signed has never worked on TV before. Time out. Then why the fuck are we signing them? Why are we putting people on TV who have no idea how to work for the camera, who have no idea how to get their gimmick over aside from Evolve and these little shitty fucking house shows that whoop, whoop, and they're fucking doing all your things where you go out and boot people on the nose and you're an alien. Meanwhile, then you're supposed to be the big badass heel, the strong girl who then works babyface style and then boops people on the nose that kills their own heat in the middle of their match. It is absolutely apparent that they have no idea how to work for TV, that they don't know who their characters are supposed to be. And that falls on Tony Khan and Kenny Omega, who's running the women's division and just brought in these girls from Japan to emulate wrong style, men's style, these falsies, and doesn't know how to book for women, which is a completely different style and position on the card to help the card completely. So she's absolutely right. And now they're having OVW first year level 1 classes before the show. And hopefully Serena's in there doing it, but that's still a Band-Aid on a broken leg. The answer is all of those girls got to go. And then you hire the women who do know how to work for TV, who will get your product over. It can't be a learning process while you're wasting TNT and Tony Khan's money, because you're just hurting your own product overall, marching out amateurs claiming that they are elite, when really it's amateur at best, over and over, to the point of where she had to try and get her own shit in and hurt herself and put herself on the shelf. Or was it the one with the SJW look of bringing in Nyla Rose? And I believe it was Nyla Rose that hurt her, because you have a man that we all have to believe is a woman, super heavyweight, now fighting the other woman and hurting her because they're all amateur and they don't know what they're doing.
Good business.
I mean, that's where we're at, and we're having to admit that, but quantify it. I'm sorry. And I think Chris Statlander is trained by Buck at WrestlePro. And so she's got good Rip Rogers fundamental training there, but the application is in the time to get the spot way too much, way too fast for almost their entire roster. You could say that about Abaddon not getting it, where she has, you know, criticized from Al Snow about her body looking a certain way. And then while doing a mythic gimmick has an SJW response online to hurt their biz. They just don't understand how to do business for themselves because they're so young and so amateur, bro.
It's crazy. You have to forgive me. My brain's still actually going back to booking that last segment, and this is where sometimes you get my brain turning on booking ideas. But let's go back to real quick. Talk about the 12 minutes that could have been better served with FTR and Jungle Boy Marco Stunt. So imagine this, if you don't mind indulging me for 2 minutes.
You work the small man. You know, at the whole angle. You know this way better than I do.
This is the plan to get over everybody. And so we're going to do a little bit of comedy, but we're also going to do a little bit of seriousness, but it's going to be that separate spotlights. It's not going to be all under the same spotlight. So it first happens with Marco Stunt versus whoever of FTR. FTR guy kicks his ass and beats him. Then as they go laugh and go to leave, Marco Stunt as the little guy says, "I'm not fucking done. I want the other guy." And they'll say, "Okay," to do the same thing. Come back in the ring. The other guy gets in there. Marco Stunt shows a little more fight, gets shut down again, beats him 1, 2, 3. Then they start to act like they're about to get the jump in on him. Jungle Boy makes the save, says, "Let's make this a fucking tag team match." Jungle Boy evens the odds, makes it look like they're about to win, about to get the odds turned on him when Tully Blanchard tries to make the save. Luchasaurus comes out to get him. Distraction happens. FTR uses that to their advantage, gets the Duke, get the fuck out. They have heat. So now we're going to build because of the involvement. Let's make this an even more of a spectacle. It's going to make a 6-man tag match with the Jurassic Express against FTR and Tully Blanchard. He's going to come back in the ring. All you do is Tully Blanchard gets into work spots during the heat. Let's say, if Jungle Boy or Marco's taking the heat, he gets in there to get his licks in. And then it comes down to the finish. Everybody spills out till it comes down to Tully and fucking Marco. Tully fucking gets the nut shot or with some sort of heelish way to beat Marco 1, 2, 3. Now what do we build to? And let's say maybe that was for a chance at the championships. Now people want to see Marco get his comeuppance. Now you build to, because you could do this such as a character match. Tully doesn't have to take any bumps. You build to Marco versus Tully at the next pay-per-view. I think people will be like, holy shit, that's interesting. I want to see how this match goes down. And then with outside interference and everything, you have Marco's Stunt at the end finally get the Duke on Tully. That gives Jurassic Express a chance at the titles. Then you have your serious match on the next pay-per-view of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus against FTR.
You get heat on him right there and fucking have Tully. What about if Arn comes down and fucks over Marco and Tully goes over? But it's by DQ, and so Marco wins by DQ. They still get heat on him right there, so Marco's down, but it gives Jurassic Express that fucking title shot.
Absolutely, you can do it that way too. You can add another wrinkle to it that way. But, but that's what 4 or 5 months worth of booking you could do right there. Okay, maybe 3 to 4, but still, there's from one segment of 12 minutes, instead of just having a 12-minute wrestling match and then we're done, now you've built a 3 or 4 month story out of these characters just off of the situations that you have presented yourself. And it really wasn't too hard. You just say, okay, this is a little guy. How can we work him into the story as, you know, an outside character and get everybody over? By the end of that, everybody's elevated. You know what I mean? So
I get you. And Mike Roche and Plaja are putting it over. This is Man Beast booking. This is the core. This used to be me, Man Beast, Twink, and Adam Revolver staying up till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, just write. I got the fucking notepads that go back with Power's great handwriting. You know, like this is what we do, and that's why Tony Khan is in kindergarten still compared to myself, Man Beast, and Power, because Rip drove this into us. And then when I didn't know shit and we're just doing ring crew, Man Beast is in the ring as a ref early on. I'm sitting next to Al Snow. I remember it was Jake Hager versus fucking Cody, and Jake made his own comeback, killed everything, or Cody made his own comeback on Hager's heat, killed everything. And Al goes, what did they do wrong there? I give the wrong answer, and Al goes, no, you don't understand either. Then Al would tell me, and fucking I learned the right way. Khan has nobody doing that for him. And that's why Ted can lay out 5 months of work where the heels keep their heat all the fucking way, where you mix in the legends the right way. No, Ted knows how the small man has to work to keep empathy and drive, and can lose while still elevating his own team to get to that main thing. And then in the end, heels should go over in the big match versus fucking Lucha Gimmick and fucking Jungle Boy just to retain their heat. But we got them all the way there in a storyline that should have paid off, right? Because we
let's add another wrinkle, because you talk about wanting to get the biggest reaction is really, so what is heat? Heat is a desire, a want, or a need. So in that situation, your desire, your want, or your need, or your heat is wanting to see the Jurassic Express get their comeuppance, or if FTR has the titles, finally win those titles. So I agree, at the end of it, if even in that title match they finally take it away, and then say down the line there's a fucking tag team tournament and Jurassic Express has to get all the way through, then finally gets the opportunity, then finally a year after all this shit goes down, then they finally win the championships. Now you have that big moment of the crowd fucking losing their minds over it. So yeah, I think at the end of that, you have the heels take it away again, only to double back around a few months later. Then Jurassic Express finally has that big moment, if they are the ones you're building.
I don't even think Jurassic Express needs it. I say fucking
it could be somebody else. So that could be its own story to get heat on the heels, and then they continue on from there.
And then when it's the fucking FTR versus somebody really important, when you don't think it's going to be, and you think Tully's going to cheat, out comes Marco Stunt out of nowhere to fucking nut shot Tully. They fucking turn, babies go over on fucking FTR. And it was that original inciting incident with fucking Marco that fucking cost him that way.
Yeah. And then everyone remembers, like, holy shit. You know,
so that way you don't just build up to like, oh, Jurassic Express paid it off. Keep the fucking heels with big heat,
and even to set up the precursor. Let's say, you know, if it's the big moment, the match prior to that, if you wanted to plant another seed, say, you know, it was like Jurassic Express was in a match and they lost, and on the way out the heels come out and fucking bump, you know, Marco. It's like, this is another fuck you, like, oh shit, you know what I mean? And then you forget about it. You forget it ever happened until the end of the fucking bang out match. He comes back out and fucking fucks him. It's like, oh shit, you know what I mean?
Well, aren't we talking about third beat of the Herald with different worlds spinning? Yeah. And then that outside comet, which is Marco Stunt, comes all the way. It's still in the orbit. You might not see it because we went away from it with these other worlds, but it's coming back around like Planet X to have an impact at the right time at the very last moment. All the details we set up are important in a 2-year big
you feel so satisfied at the end of it to feel the conclusion of all the stories coming to fruition. And it's a wonderful.
You don't even see it coming because we focus so much on this secondary or third story that the first story with Jurassic Express was just a builder, but really that's an inciting incident that will come back and pay off. And the psychology of that, whether you're watching it on a Netflix show or a wrestling show, is everything. And there's no way TK knows how to book like that, bro. No, there's no way. And that's why you get the terribleness that we get week after week.
I would love the women's division and the privilege to teach him. You know what I mean? It's like, please.
It's going to take 3 years though. No. There is no teaching him. It's him giving over control of the book to guys like myself, you, Steve, Popper.
But then sitting and listening, and then after some time,
yes, and learning it all.
Because after a while, you develop what you call the group mind, and he starts to realize, okay, I understand how they're thinking through this now. Then now he starts offering suggestions, and then he feels empowered because he's starting to understand how this is supposed to work. That's really would be the ideal situation if he had a booking team like us come in and sit down and say, all right, we're going to book. You just sit there and listen. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to chime in, with input. So, make a part of the conversation. But overall, we're the ones that are deciding the stories. But then over time, as he starts to understand, okay, this is how it gets done, then he can start to interject and take more control as he starts to understand. You know what I mean?
He's doing that with the Bucks. He's doing with that Cody and with Jericho. But guess what? Out of those names, what's that?
They aren't bookers.
Yeah, Jericho's the only one
on the program, which is a no-no in the first place.
Yeah, definitely a no-no. But Jericho's the only one who's ever done professional improv, so he's the only one who could wrap his head around that concept. Bucks never booked territories. Cody never booked a territory. So really, they're all still at second, third grade level, bro. They know how to draw. They know how to pop a crowd. Absolutely. I take nothing away from them there. They do it better than I do, and they can't get heat like I can. But when it comes to being babies, they know it. But that doesn't mean you know how to set up long-term business and how to fucking get empathy on somebody. So to go back to that with Miss Stratlander, I hope that she can take some of that and say, wow, I hope I'm protecting myself on TV instead of just being on TV for the sake of it, and that we need to work harder to be better. And hopefully she stays off the injured list, because there is money written on her, bro. If you look at her, she's got the sex appeal, the youth, like a strong size. She reminds me of an unrefined Beth Phoenix right now.
And I would disagree. I don't think it's necessarily working harder to be better. It's working more consistently to be better at the end of the day.
Yep. Well, thank you for making me feel stupid then. Natalia claims that Tamina is destined for greatness. She says, I think Tamina would agree that our experience makes us very dangerous to become the greatest bloodlines in the world. Well, that's a little... you think about the Hart dynasty. My grandfather Stu Hart is a Hall of Famer. My father Jim the Anvil Neidhart is a Hall of Famer. My uncle Brett is a 2-time Hall of Famer. My other uncle, the British Bulldog's a Hall of Famer. And then you think about Tamina Snuka, her father's a Hall of Famer. So it's just natural that the greatness comes together. I feel like Tamina's been very held down, and that's about to change. When you align yourself with the BOAT, the best of all time, it really changes perspective of everything. And Tamina's destined for greatness. I'm incredibly proud to have someone like her watching my back. She's a 6'1" Samoan princess that will kick your ass. I think she is great too, and I love the legacy and whatnot, but putting her with the BOAT is exactly the wrong move. The BOAT should be forming her own thing with her husband, with Baby Bulldog Jr. I don't know if you can bring in Teddy, but we should be doing we should be doing other Hart family dynasty building. And Tamina should have been 6 weeks ago aligned with fucking Roman Reigns. Absolutely, Tamina should be a main player in all of this Samoan dynasty stuff, not putting her with Hart family. The Hart family should be shaping up their own little mafia thing. So then the Samoans have somebody to battle against, like the fucking Columbos and the Genovese crime families would, right? So they're not or Lupratazis and the Sopranos, if you will. They're not even getting close to shaping up the lines of how they should and putting people in the right spots to get them over, man. Like Tamina has lost like 20, 30 pounds. I saw her a month and a half ago. I go, she's ready to get into the storyline. And then they haven't done anything to fucking build it into there, dude. She should be the main player of this in the women's division of fucking girls over, based off of Roman Reigns doing the same thing he's doing with Jay to go send her out as the hitter. They're missing
that scene, because the sooner you start planning it, the bigger the payoff is at the end of it.
Absolutely.
So the more they wait to commit to furthering that story, the less of a reaction they're going to get at the end of it. And really, wasn't that what everything's building to? Well, not towards the reaction, but towards building a story that draws people in and then drawing towards a more satisfying conclusion, and it's like you're preventing yourselves from having that satisfying conclusion. But it seems to be the MO, unfortunately, lately.
You're the tribal chief, but you don't have a tribe. Like what? Show us the fucking tribe. Build the tribe. Show us the family. Everyone's so fucking stupid. And if anything, she could have heat inside the family with Naomi, because Naomi's not fucking Samoan or Tongan. So the fact that she's African-American could have the little heat there. Then you have the catty women inside, much like Janice and fucking Carmela Soprano butting heads. Like there's all these things we can steal from. They're just so fucking, well, maybe they wrote it. And then right before they go out, Vince goes, "Nah, Tamina, you're going out there with the boat. With Daddy, get on the boat." Like just fucking everything over. So here's the last thing they kind of fucked over. And
real quick, only because I love this idea in the chat. If you're watching this, and of course, definitely check out the live stream on YouTube for those of you that are listening on podcasts. But Mike Roach said, "I'd pop for Tyson Kidd being back on TV as her overbearing husband / manager, living vicariously through her because she can wrestle and he can't." I think there's so much character and legs to that. You know what I mean? Tyson Kidd could get either tons of heat, playing dad up, and actually get more heat than anyone doing anything inside the ring. He can get more heat than anything he ever did inside the ring by playing up that character the right way. And it's like a story as simple and as easy as that. They aren't even playing that up. And anyway, I just went over. It's such a great idea, but like little simple things like that, it's the frustrating part about all this. It's that the concepts we're talking about, it ends up becoming elaborate over a discussion, but really the concepts are simple. You find out this is the character, this is the heat, and kind of build from there. And then it's just like that. So there you go. You have a guy who can't wrestle, but his wife is on TV. So of course the bitter husband, trying to over manage the wife. Easy story, but we're not even touching that.
And then he chops his sister-in-law's big titties too. That's one set. We gotta get everyone. I mean, they're doing it online anyway with Natty and her sister's big gimmicks out chopping each other. You might as well fucking put it on TV. One thing they're not going to put on, even though I thought would be good, our final story of the day, Adam Pearce is grateful for the support about potentially wrestling Roman Reigns. He says, "A note of gratitude to those who support the idea of seeing me face Roman Reigns at the Rumble. Wrestling fans have amazed me for 25 plus years, and now is no different. That being said, some things aren't just meant to be. Not medically cleared is a status I wish on no one." I mean, I don't know what the not medically cleared thing is, but they missed huge here. I mean, to march out Owens after they try to do this thing on Friday night with, it's a last man standing match, it's a no DQ match or whatever. Well, yeah. And you keep Pearce in that fucking spot. So the tension builds all the way, because people who are indie fans who want to see Scrap Daddy, who will probably give you a better match than 90% of your roster, but he would just be on the cell for Roman the whole time because he knows what he's doing. And if it's no DQ or last man standing, that means Kevin Owens can run in at any fucking time he wants to fuck over Roman Reigns and get Adam Pearce over on Roman Reigns. Pearce doesn't have to get nothing on Reigns. He just sells the whole time. And then you do the bigger level business with Owens fucking over the tribal chief in a ha-ha embarrassment way to get Pearce over on him. They missed completely here. So they built up Pearce, and then we just take it away and sub this guy in 2 weeks beforehand that we've already seen 6 to 8 weeks of matches with Owens, who, I'm an Owens guy, 2CW, Kevin Steen, whatever, but the shape he's in, bro. And then I look at myself, who is always battling the bulge. I look twice as good as Owens right now, and he's the one who's going to main event versus Reigns. Wow, bro. Wow. Just in storytelling alone, we should have kept Pearce in there and had him as the fuck you chaos factor. Now we're just going to get another cold fucking match that nobody cares about, bro.
It seems like, again, a simple opportunity could have prevented itself to tell some great storytelling with just really a relatively small change, but with relatively big consequences if they just would have booked it in that manner. It really makes you question, what the reasons why, I guess, that these decisions are made at the end of the day, because you have to think there has to be someone in that room that knows better, but yet those people clearly aren't speaking up, or they clearly aren't being heard. One of the two. And I have to say, unfortunately, I think it's probably the first one, that people just simply aren't speaking up, and things are just status quo for the time being. And that's why, unfortunately, ratings aren't going anywhere. But again, I think, we spit out some quality ideas today, and I'll always put it out there. We're an independent group of free thinkers who know how to book and write, and glad to always advise, if they're willing to pay the money. Would love. I love pro wrestling, and there's nothing I want more than to help any professional wrestling promotion succeed. And so at the end of the day, even though we're highly critical, at the same time, we're not just bitching about it, we're offering solutions. And that's, we've spelled out plenty of simple ideas. Would love to come in, give us 6 weeks to see what we can do, and I'm willing to bet at the end of those 6 weeks you're going to see quite a nice change in the ratings. And so, and
in your locker room, people thinking of ideas how they can fit in with other people to do business together instead of worrying about their own individual shit.
Boost up morale in the locker room, so that when people leave WWE, they aren't talking about what a terrible experience they had. They're talking about what a great time it was to be able to heighten their character and be able to really learn how to take that character and make more money with it.
And we are the black market creative zone, whether it's NXT training, improv, whether it's fucking advising WWE writing, whether it's teaching the AEW uppers how to book properly for the guys that they have. There's money written on fucking Marco Stunt. There's money written on Chris Statlander. There's money on fucking even Adam Pearce being the guy as the window dressing for what the real story is, in intrigue and drawing them that way. But we shoot ourselves in the foot in the first step of a mile journey. We're like, let me do this with a bullet in my foot real quick. And we're never going to make it to the end of the fucking journey, man. So that's why maybe HMG is black market creative. We could facilitate AEW, Impact, and WWE all at the same time without having any interest for ourselves in getting over, just supporting the business, getting it to the level we know it could be at, Beast. And that it's the most frustrating thing. And then other people show up and take spots and do things on the way out to F you guys that just don't need to be done, especially when you're doing it on a pay-per-view.
And that's where almost I like the idea of there being an independent booking I guess crew outside of it, because for that very reason, that doesn't play into the bullshit politics of what's going on. It's looking at it from the outside in, not seeing how the locker room is and saying, these are the characters that are being presented. Here's how they should be booked, and not dealing with any of the political bullshit. So if anything, you've added an extra layer of protection in the storylines to make sure that the integrity is held up, and that we're looking to build the best stories with the best characters, and no political bullshit is on the table.
I totally agree with that sentiment, man. And I thank you for doing the run-in. I thank Stevie Richards for doing the cardio run-in earlier here, and the tech issues I had for a couple minutes in between. I don't apologize, whatever the fuck. I don't need to. I'm a monster heel. But if you guys hung in with us here, we're 31 live at YouTube, Ben Hamin channel, also on Hamin Media Group. Appreciate you guys following us. Stevie Ray TV, we're doing great things over there. MSG's got a big week ahead of him on that. We're doing brand development for RIP stuff, obviously, with Damian Sandow now and April Hunter, and even more brands that we can't wait to share with you guys. Russo brand tomorrow, I'll be taping with him, doing master shoots. So much production all the time, and we're so grateful to be able to have all these creative outlets and you guys help and share and interact with us. It's been a great 2 weeks here at HMG. I gotta be honest with you. So please keep interacting in the Discord and the Hamin Media Group Facebook group, hitting us up on Twitter, people sending us all kinds of links, at Ben_Hamin, at Hamin Media Group, whatever it is, for what's going on in the world that we might not have our eyes on because we're watching phony wrestling and talking about stuff that's imaginary for escapism. But hopefully you can escapism today, and you don't have to be out there. You got the day off, Beast. You work with it.
No, even on federal holidays, old people got to do their get out there. Got to make it happen.
No days off for the Man Beast. No days off for the Hacker. You can go over to prowrestlingtees.com/Dr. Beast and
Dr. Beast.
VR Beast, and grab his swag. And at Ben Hamin store had some good sales in the last week there. Appreciate you guys doing all that. So Beast, we missing anything else, man? We got to get ready. I think the semi-main event's coming up. We've been in this locker room for 2 hours. Stinks like piss and old knee pads in here.
Yeah, I need to tell the ref to tell him to take it home.
Yeah, let's wrap it up, you guys. Y'all, it's Hacker Hamin, it's Dr. Ted, it's Big Stevie Cool on the treadmill, infidels. It's the Monday locker room, hackerhamin.podbean.com. Y'all.